Hey there, and welcome back to the NCMU Podcast, where we are dedicated to training up and equipping the next generation of nerd culture ministers and missionaries. My name is Bubba Stallcup, CEO, president, and founder of Love Thy Nerd. I am one of your two hosts, alongside of Mark Lutz of Lux Digital Church, senior and founder pastor over there. But enough about him. Hey, today we are here to talk with another NCMS alumni that we have, David Hicks. David, how you doing, brother?
Doing pretty well. What's going on with you?
Oh, man. And we were talking about this right before we got started. This is Tuesday when we're recording it, and just getting through Tuesday, trying to cruise through twos, as it were.
That's right.
But yeah, man, I think things are good on my end. A lot of meetings, a lot of conversations, a lot of things that are gearing up. At the time that this comes out, Mark and I will be at Exponential Global, sharing about Love Thy Nerd and NCMS and Lux Digital Church and all the things that we're doing in those avenues. But that's not today. Today is
I got to tell you, I actually love Tuesdays. Tuesdays is one of my two nights where I head out to my local game store, and it's my D&D night, and I am very much looking forward to getting back at the table tonight with all the people who I've been meeting over the last year and a half.
Have you said you're excited getting back? Has it been a break, or you're just ready to? You love the rhythm.
No, it's been a few days. That's all it is.
What a D&D thing to say.
It's
been a couple of days since we played.
Pardon?
I said, what a D&D thing to say, that it's been a couple of days since we played.
Right. Yeah. I mean, my typical shtick there is that I'm there to play on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then you're likely to see me there a number of other times during the week doing other random things. It's really become my third place.
Yeah.
If you want, you know that social statement of it's not home, it's not work, it's my third place.
Man, I love that, dude. And like that kind of sets us on a trajectory. And we're going to talk about your presence in the local game space, at your FLGS, your friendly local game store or shop. And I will allude already to the fact that you've written at least one article for the NCMS website, ncmsummit.com, that is just called Showing Up, right? Like being there and being present. And so we'll dive into that here in a minute. But man, you've already kind of set the stage for where we're going. Before we even get this thing really off the ground, right? Some people may not be familiar with you, who you are, David Hicks. They may have even been at previous NCMSs and gone, I think that guy kind of might look familiar. Who is David Hicks?
Who is David Hicks? Well, I was born at a young age.
What is David Hicks? Yeah, the things.
The what gets into a lot of other philosophical things. We won't worry about that right now. But I am, I guess you could say what. I am a longtime nerd. We can start there. That's the what. I started as a comic book nerd back when Claremont was writing for X-Men. You know, the awesome days. But comic book, sci-fi nerd, and kind of lived, in that area for a while. Really got back into the nerd geek area of my life when my kids started getting a little bit older. And it really started when my oldest got some birthday money and went out and got some Pokemon cards. And of course came home and was like, Dad, how do you play this game? And I'm like, I have no idea.
Nobody knows. Yeah, that's not important.
So I hopped online and I found a local game shop. It's unfortunately not there anymore, but it was a great shop. Found out they had the weekly Pokemon League, and took my kids over there. And I am not one who's just going to sit in the car and wait, or scroll, sit in the corner and scroll through my phone while they're playing and doing their thing. So of course I bought a couple of packs, and we all got into it, pretty deep for the next few years.
What era of Pokemon are we talking about here?
Oh gosh, I think we're looking at around 2014. So this has been a while back. I mean, you can tell by the gray hair. It's been a while. So we're there, and I started being at that game shop on a weekly basis. And just a little more backstory of who I am. Through the 90s, I worked with the North American Mission Board for summer missions consistently, like all through the 90s. And they were largely at resort ministry areas. I was in Gatlinburg, Charleston, huge chunk in Orlando. And with that, you just kind of get in the mindset of, how can I interact with these people who are here to recreate, who are here to play, who are here on vacation? You know, what are some things we can build to become touch points? And you can kind of call those gimmicks. And I'm, for better or for worse, I grew up in the 90s where Christian ministry gimmicks were all over the place, for better or for worse. And I took to trying to figure out, how do I make this Pokemon thing something I can have a touch point and interact with them? And I came up with ideas and wrote them down, but they never went anywhere. I didn't have any kind of support, any guidance, because this is, 12 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And I wasn't sure how to really jump into it. Like I said, I was looking for that gimmick. I even went as far as, and this is a little embarrassing, you remember the salvation bracelet thing that you do at VBS with the beads?
Yeah.
Well, you can do those colors with the Pokemon energy cards.
You can. Hey.
So I'm like writing down, hey, this might be a way that you can like sit down and talk somebody through the plan of salvation using Pokemon. I'm looking for gimmicks, and I'm thinking I have to have something like that. So step back forward into 2014, 2015. We were there. Like I said, that shop closed down. We went to another one, and that's where the same kid that bought the Pokemon cards saw people playing D&D, and he was like, "Dad, can we play D&D?" And I actually had to stop for a second because I didn't even realize this. I grew up in the 80s.
Yeah, you did.
In a Southern Baptist. And you know what? I was shocked at how much of the old stereotype of all that stuff was still drilled into my head. And I realized, I was like, you know what? I've never actually validated all those claims. So I did a little research, found out it was total garbage. None of what they were saying in the 80s was true.
None of it.
And I was like, absolutely, let's go do this. And we joined a group there, and we really started getting into it. And again, all through this time, I'm still kind of thinking, well, I'm working at a church during this time. I've done graphic design for 20 years, and I was working graphic design communications at this church. And our church was fantastic at really pushing to live sent, to intentionally live wherever you're at as a mission field. And I realized that my time at my game store is the only time I interact with people who believe differently than me. It's the only time I interact with people who don't have my faith, who don't have the same values I have. I mean, this is my only place because I work at a church all week with Christians. And so I'm thinking, this has become my place. How do I do that? And again, I started stepping in it, trying to find some way. I tried to merge. This is another embarrassing thing. I thought I made it up. Christmas was coming around, and I thought, oh wait, Christmas, that'd be a great thing to kind of merge the two together, Christmas and D&D, because Christmas is such an easy end to talk about the birth of Jesus and salvation and things like that. I thought I made up Christmas. This is before I realized what Critical Role was and found out that they got to it a few years before me.
Oh, weird. Somebody had already merged to Crit and made a pun out. That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Critical Role, I don't know if they have a register on it. But so, whatever. I tried. So I started stepping away from that idea a little bit, but still keeping the general thought. Because we had a game the week or two before Christmas, and I came in with a tree that was decorated with D20 ornaments, and I had presents that looked like mimics that were all under the tree, and I had, again, I need a gimmick. That's what I'm thinking.
I love it.
I mean, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm not saying gimmicks are bad. They have their place. But I thought they were necessary. And, well, that was 2019. 2020 came around and just killed everything. And I really didn't step back into playing after that at all. And my kids were getting older, and while they were kind of still into all that stuff, I was the only one really still in it and loving it and just making it who I am. But starting through all this, I did start trying to do some research, thinking someone else has got to have put this nerd ministry culture together to do an outreach for Jesus. And that's when I stumbled upon NCMS and was able to be a part of one of the earlier ones. I joined online and, watching it live the whole day, while I'm working. It's right there in my ear. Absolutely loving it and getting absolutely pumped and going, I'm not alone. I mean, it wasn't my idea, and I'm fine with that, but I'm not alone. This is great. And again, the following year, followed along again. I'm going, I've got to do something. This is, I feel like God's pulling me towards this. These are the passions that God has given me, the abilities that God has given me. It's something I love. If I like sports, which I don't, nothing wrong with sports. My wife had to explain to me what a first down was one time. It was really embarrassing.
Oh, yeah. Hey, wives are great, man. Love them.
But if I was into the sports world, I'd probably be a part of FCA or something like that. But it was nice to see find people with not only my similar passion for gaming, but also a passion for Jesus. And it was really exciting to hear all the testimonies of what everybody else is doing in the nerd culture world, connecting with them. Right before that last NCMS, I had actually emailed Giles Hash of Discipleship Gaming. I was like, hey, man, I'd really love to just get on and pick your brain about what it is you do. And I want to get more information. And he was like, well, listen, NCMS is in 3 weeks. Let me get past that. And then we'll go. So after the last NCMS, I talked to him on the phone, and I'm like, man, what do I need to do? What are the gimmicks is really what I was asking. Is there any cool literature that you can like slip into somebody's player handbook? Is there a Christian dice set? I'm trying to think what way outside here. And he said the most important words to me that have stuck with me, that have guided everything I've done since then, and that was just show up. I'm thinking I have to walk into there with bags and bags and notebooks of stuff. And it's like, no, just show up. Show up regularly. Get to know the same people. Get to know who they are. Know their passions, their loves, their hurts, their needs. Just show up. And so that's when I started. I really said, okay, this is going to be a thing for me. And this is a year ago, January. And I'm sitting in what has become my favorite game shop. I'm going, okay, how do I do this? And I'm kind of watching, and I was going to go a few nights to see what the crowds were. I was doing my research, really, what the crowds were like, what was going on, who was there. So I'm sitting there furiously taking notes and going, okay, how do I connect with these people? How do I start a group? How do I, make this a thing? And then from behind me, somebody goes, excuse me, have you ever played D&D? I was like, well, yeah, actually I have. So There was a lady there who is one of the DMs, and she has open D&D gaming for anybody. It's just a drop in, drop out, learn to play. There's a good. There are nights where there are 11 to 15 people at that table.
Wow,
it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty big. We're trying to figure out how to manage all that. But I started consistently going there on Tuesday nights and getting to know the DM and getting to know who she was, and came to find out she was also in leadership with the volunteer leadership for a local con coming up. So I was like, wait a minute, there's this thing called Love Thy Nerd, and they do things with cons. Maybe I'll take a cue from them and do that. So
yeah.
Through her, I was actually able to go in and serve at that con and get to know people and with the load in, load out. I watched over the game room at that con for my local game shop. They were the ones who were hosting it, so I was able to interact there. And it's really that mindset that I had been reading about with Love Thy Nerd of just serve them. You're not there to give them anything. It's not a booth that you hand out tracks. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, being able to interact directly, showing up, and consistently doing that over and over and over again, and trying to patiently wait and listen for when those opportunities for deeper conversations were going to happen. It really is the long game. You're not going to sit down. Hi, I'm David. I love D&D. Have you ever thought about Jesus? It doesn't look like that. It's really this long conversation of getting to know people, and also
not really looking like that in like an effective standpoint. It's not to say that those things don't happen and people don't take that approach, or that there aren't even people out there that would be receptive to that. But kind of as we're talking about, like broad strokes, broadcasting, trying to cast a wide net. The thing that will work the best, the most effective. This is the meta, right? The most effective tactic available. The meta of this is what you were saying: showing up, being there. Maybe, and this is hard for a lot of us that grew up in church and had to think of themes for this, that, and the other and everything, but maybe dropping the gimmick a little bit and just being real with people. Yeah.
And that's what I've done. And over the last year and a half, I've been able to build those relationships. And then this past November, what I'm going to actually, I actually believe this, I'm going to classify this as probably one of the top 10 blessings of my life. I lost my job.
Oh, yeah.
Just, I lost my job. It was, not going to go into all that. Don't need to.
Sure.
But I lost my job the first week of November. And I made that game shop my office, basically, through the day. That's where I set up, looking for, scouring LinkedIn, Indeed, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But there's one person who's the owner of that shop who I've really started, that I'd been getting to know over this past year. And at 2:00 on a Tuesday, which if I had been working, I could not have been there. And it was slow, and we got to talk, and we had a fantastic 2-hour conversation about life, about faith, we have some similar difficulties with some similar problems that we were able to talk through. And he's become legitimately a great friend. He's not a believer. Our conversation, I don't think, moved his faith meter one bit. However, the one thing that really struck him, and this is absolutely true. If you look at, I'm one of those D&D players that constantly taking notes, or I'm doodling when it gets slow, that kind of thing. But at the beginning of every game, I write down everyone's name who's there. And I have an ongoing prayer list of, they don't know they're prayed for on a daily basis, but I pray for each of them by name. And then I'm also taking notes of, hey, they've got their big exam coming up next week. Hey, they're going into the hospital for this, that, or the other. Trying to keep just notes either written down or mental of what's going on in their life. And I'm praying for them constantly. But then back to my friend who's the owner. And I told him, I said, this is absolutely true. But here's the thing. The first name on the list that I ever wrote down was yours. And I said, I want you to know that every day I've been praying for you.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, he said, yeah, that actually means a lot. He said, just to know that somebody's thinking about me in a nice way on a day-to-day basis. He said, he said, I appreciate that. It really means a lot. And like I said, his faith meter hasn't moved. And that's okay, because I believe it's the long game.
Oh, yeah.
I don't believe in, let me give you the 5 spiritual points and let's pray a prayer, real quick, sales pitch kind of evangelism. But I'm starting to become really great. He's a great guy. He has, we've talked about some different things where I'm kind of helping him out with some emotional things, and he's helping me out with some emotional things too. I mean, I have bad days, and he's like, "Hey, man, are you okay? You want to talk?" We talk through it. So it's a legitimate friendship, and I'm really, really thankful that this is coming out of it.
Well, I think that's good. That's fantastic, and a lot of people they'll ask the question, "All right, hey." You've told me I need to go, because we tell people this all the time. I mean, I feel like a broken record where I'm like, just get into your local game store. Mm-hmm. I don't know if your local game store is GameStop, get into GameStop, right? Like if your local game store is a mom and pop, board game, get into that. Whatever it is, go to these places, because there are people there that need the love of Jesus. But the more time you spend there, like we're starting to hear a lot of these, not just theoretical stories of, well, here's what could happen. Here's the romanticizing of what it looks like, which is a lot of things that we hear from very well-meaning pastors on Sunday mornings or Bible study leaders or whatever. If you just do enough, people will notice. People will ask you, what's different about you? Which is crazy when it actually happens.
Yeah.
Right? Which is not
true.
Every day, but it's over time that people will step in and go, hey, you actually said that you would pray for me, and then you followed up on that. Why are you so tenacious? Why do you care? What's wrong with you? What do you want? Right? Like that's kind of where the conversations may start to go. And then to be able to kind of show them and help them understand, no, I just generally care about you. And I mean, I love you enough to not ask your permission to pray for you.
Right.
And so like, I think that there's something in it. So I even hear you saying it's not moving his faith needle. And I'm like, I mean, that of, like we have idea.
That's my perception. Yeah, that is very true.
That's the beauty of it. Oh, I love it so much that the moment we can get somebody, and I say that's this, like, it's like, all right, we're moving people through a checklist. But the moment somebody gets to the point where they're like, hey, I'm not the praying type, but I know that you are. Mm-hmm. When they give you permission to pray for something about them.
Yeah.
Or when they're like, hey, I just wanted to let you know my mom made it, whatever. They're kind of saying two things. They're saying that they don't believe in prayer and all this, religious mumbo jumbo. But they're also saying that they do kind of believe in all of it, because they've seen it work in your life, in the lives of people around you, in their own life specifically. Not that they would ever necessarily give you the credit for that prayer, but like it's all about that very thing that you're talking about. And I just want to kind of sit here for a second about that showing up, making it your office space, time spent, and if we can borrow from the Bible for just a second, like counting it all joy when
Yeah.
you kind of go through the suffering of losing your job, right? It's a different kind of suffering, but it's the same level of joy that Paul's talking about there. It's like, hey, you're gonna go through some things. Jesus said, in this world you will have trouble, but like, what do we do with that? And you have found a way to take these concepts, right? Again, us well-meaning people at NCMS, from stages and screens and all sorts of stuff, podcasts that give you all these practical ideas of what you can do. But the moment you actually scoop some of that information up and put it into practice, we start to see fruit bearing on this tree. So you've been there for, you're saying about a year and a half in this thing. Since November, some of these conversations that you've been having with the owner, have you seen any of that kind of spill out into other people, other areas in the game store or in the community?
Constantly building relationships with the people around the table. And sometimes it's just, we had one player who was going in for some pretty serious surgery. And I remember saying, hey, I want you to know that I am praying for you. And when you get out, contact us all on Discord and let us know that, that you're okay, that everything's going, and I want to keep up with how you're doing. And I know that you won't be at the table for the next couple of weeks, but I look forward to hearing from you and how you're doing. And then there was another time where our DM, her husband, had a really bad fall. He fell through a deck. He stepped on some rotten wood and went through the deck, and snapped his leg, enough where they had to do a lot of rebuilding and rotator cuff and all of that. And I was able to contact them and go, hey, I'd love to show up at the hospital. Can I bring you some food? And they're like, no. Well, the hospital has this food. I'm like, no. I want to bring you some real food. Some not hospital food. Something. And I'm like, what do you want? And I was able to take them not hospital food and standing there and again, showing up in a lot of other different ways and just letting them know that you legitimately care. Because one thing I'm concerned about, and this is just sort of those concerns that, with thinking about doing this podcast, if they find out that, I don't want them thinking that this is an ulterior motive.
Yes.
They are not a project. They are not a goal. They are, these are people who I'm coming to love and become friends with and respect individually, no matter what. You said something that really stood out for me at the last MCS was actually your keynote, where and I actually wrote it down. We need to embrace love of people who think differently than we do about any number of topics. Kick it off to the side and be able to sit down with them and love them well and understand their story. That moment of that keynote, I actually clipped and have shared over and over and over again because it really helped kick off all of these things I've been thinking for 12 years going, there's something here. I feel like I need to be doing something there. It really kind of rallied all that for me of it's time to, put my feet in, let the rubber hit the road, jump into it, be real about it, live intentionally about it, and love people for who they are and show them that there's a love greater than anything that they've ever experienced. And that, the satanic panic was stupid. I've actually, but I'm actually glad I lived through it because I've had a number of conversations that have started because of that.
Yeah.
And I've been able to go, yeah, I lived through it. And and it's those times where I get to go, Christians don't always get it right. That was stupid. That's not how Jesus really looks. That's not what Jesus really looks like. And being able to start conversations using, the stupid things that have happened in the past, and using that as a launching block for, conversations, whether deep or whether just, stepping into them, of telling people that's not what Jesus looks like. I'd love to talk to you about what he actually looks like, or at least, the difference he's made in my life. And
I think the idea of, and thank you so much for saying that. That's really encouraging to me. I have so many words so often, and so for that any of them land in any way, that really is edifying. Thank you so much for that. But this idea that like people are people, they are not projects,
right?
I think is in a pretty metric-driven world and society, especially in Western culture. That's good to remember that progress looks different with each person, right? So progress may just be like what we talk about at Love Thy Nerd. I love to explain to people that our win is not how many of those people that we talk to are now deep devoted followers of Jesus. How many of those people that we talk to are now tithers at their church or regular attenders or anything like that. Our goal and our win is, have we changed a negative preconceived notion that somebody in nerd culture has with church culture? And then vice versa. We run that the other way. People that have negative feelings and preconceived notions in church culture about nerd culture. Have we changed their perception of each other so much so that they now see each other as human beings, as people? Because if we can get back down to seeing that portion of that part of people, we can then move people to understand, okay, hey, now Christians, this person is somebody who's created in the image of God and is worthy of his love, right? Mm-hmm. They're not just a deep, dirty, rotten sinner. Okay, now person who doesn't believe in Jesus, this is a person who is at bare minimum worthy of basic human rights, right? They're worthy of healthy conversation or understanding. Like, are you treating people with honor, dignity, and respect? Like, we can kind of get to similar moral stances on both sides. And then where we come in as people of Jesus is we can say, hey, we want you to know that you are loved by the creator of the entire universe. But we cannot get there if we're just simply going, hey, I've got 5 minutes to talk to you. You either believe it or you don't believe it. And I'm moving on to the next. Right. Now, I do think that there's space for that in different areas. But when we blanket statement the use of one technique over another, I think that we lose it. And especially right now, I mean, it is March the 10th, 2026, when we are recording this. It'll be the 19th when it releases. But right now, we're in a very tumultuous and like hate-filled world where we are completely being pit against somebody else. Everybody is completely pit against somebody else at every moment that they're turning around. People that are voting differently, people that believe differently, people that any number of things, right? Like, I don't want to get into the list to get too deep because it's not
a long list.
But that's the idea, right? It's like, how can we, around something as goofy, I take a lot of flack for saying this, but maybe not goofy, but something as kind of innocuous as a table, where we are literally doing things like pushing little pieces of plastic and cardboard across the top of it. Like, how can those be moments of incarnation, right? Like, how can that be a space where Jesus is not just present, but he's prevalent, right? Like, we are the hands and feet of Jesus. Like, how, David, how have you found that those moments that start at the table and then move to, the OR or, the hospital or somebody's house, how are those moments sacred?
We are connecting. That we are sitting around the table, pushing, telling a story together, pushing plastic around. But there's a connection there that, God didn't make us to live life alone. And we're able to put ourselves out there and connect one-on-one in love with intention of not saving them, first and foremost, but just glorifying God in our life, in our actions, and how we treat them at the table, how we listen to them at the table, how we sometimes really see them for who they are, and love them anyway. And I'm not even gonna say love them anyway. Love them.
Yeah.
And those moments, I think, are where we are doing our best. I know, because, we are here to, reflect Christ's love. And I'm often a horrible example at who Jesus is, but I'm trying.
Yeah.
But trying to show other people, this is who my God is. And he is worthy of all honor and glory, and I want you to know him like I know him, and to glorify God and find that peace and that love that can't come from anywhere else. That's where the sacredness comes into, is that connection of, this is what love is. This is who God is. And I'd love for what God has done for me, he can do for you. And that's ultimately what I want to share.
I would hope, listener, viewer, however you're consuming this content, that would be your approach. That we're not setting out with the goal of saving and winning as many souls as possible. I talk about it all the time. That is just such a heavy weight for anybody to carry.
Yeah.
Our goal is to go and be the hands and feet of Jesus in the space, not to argue anybody into anything, because as easily, or maybe not as easily, but if we do end up arguing somebody into the kingdom, somebody can come along behind us with a better argument. And argue them out. And so I want to create faith-built spaces, and it's time spent, it's relationships, it's all that stuff. And David, as we start to wrap here, thank you, man. Holy geez, this was such a good conversation. I love it. I cannot wait to have maybe another one of these conversations with you in person, maybe around a table with somebody else.
Or at NCMS, which I'll be.
Here's what I'm saying.
This April,
at NCMS is where I want to have this conversation.
Yeah.
And so if anybody listening is interested in getting involved in their local game store, or what we might consider like a marketplace ministry, like being out there in the space, whatever the space is, and you have questions about the hows, man, how do I not make it weird to the owner? How do I not be a burden on them being in their store 5 days a week with my laptop? How do I give back? If you have any questions at all, this is the beauty. We're constantly blown away with the ability to create spaces like this within the context of Nerd Culture Ministry through the collective, specifically at the summit, where we create these intimate spaces where people who don't have to be main stage speakers, they don't have to be keynotes, they don't have to be any kind of breakout, whatever. It's like David's going to be there. If you want to pick his brain, by all means, show up and ask what I call your dumb white guy questions, right? Like,
let me flip that around, because that's one of the reasons I'm going, is because I have dumb white guy questions. In some ways, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm kind of like, I'm just one person trying to figure out what works as I go. Another thing that you haven't mentioned that MCMS offers is our networks.
Yeah.
I'm actually there are networks I can get on there with and I know they have them for a variety of different specific things. You've got your podcasters, your streamers, different people who are using nerd culture in different ways, and we have our specific little network of people who are trying to do things in their local area.
Yeah.
And the great thing for me about that, what I've really appreciated is that there's some accountability to what I do. Ministry and getting out there and trying to do things like reach people for Christ on your own is difficult. So having a group where there's a level of accountability and a number of people who you can say, hey, I am struggling in this part of what I'm trying to do. Do you have any ideas? There's idea resources that are there. And just that moral support that helps push it along and helps you keep that fire going when you're starting to kind of go, do I really want to go out another night to play? I'm tired.
That's real.
So it's nice to have a group of people who are behind you, cheering you on and supporting you, even when they're not really there physically. And so I am very appreciative for everyone who is in that network. And I'm appreciative of Love Thy Nerd and NCMS and everything you guys are doing that have allowed me to finally start pushing through with something that has been rolling around in my head for years and years and years and years and years. All these things were very ethereal and just, what ifs.
Yeah.
NCMS has helped funnel that all into something very intentional and helping to make those what ifs more of a reality.
Yeah, and people may be listening to this and going, man, was this just one long commercial for NCMS? Yeah, basically.
Full transparency. Yes, it is, but I ultimately like to show, look at what God is doing with NCMS.
Yes.
Through the people who are taking those passions and stepping out and stepping forward to live intentionally where God has placed them.
Well, and that's our main focus this year. I mean, it has been happening for the last several years, but that's our main focus this year for NCMS is we're focusing on the word onward, moving forward, right? And we think we're better together. So the whole point is, man, how do we take your ideas, the things that you have, and not take them from you, but how do we help you in that moment move from ideation to actualization? How do you get out of your head and into some perpetual motion, right? Like how do we create something that continues, right? And so if that's anything that any of our listeners or viewers are interested in at all, you may not have a solid idea. You may not have a ministry plan. You may not have any of this stuff. You may just be like, I kind of think I can use the Pokemon colors to walk people through some sort of plan of salvation. All you need is a seed of an idea and a tugging in a direction. That's it. And we're going to put you in spaces. Not even like, hey, we're going to divide you guys up and you do it. We're just going to create spaces for you to be around other people who are moving in the same direction. And in the same way that, the people in the Bible, early church, were working out their salvation with fear and trembling. Like they're just meeting together, Acts chapter 2 style, this kind of stuff, because they didn't know what else to do. We want to create that space. We're still on the tip of the spear in 2026. Like there's not really good, legitimate, replicable, always going to hit pathways. We're still figuring all this stuff out as the technology grows, as the player base changes, right? As we're dealing with people that are coming out of the satanic panic. Like it's still things that need to be worked through and wrestled with. And I feel like it's every week. There are at least 3 people that I hear from that are like, I had no idea this was a thing.
Yeah.
I thought I was alone. And so we're just here saying you're not. And we invite you. We invite you to join us at NCMS, the Nerd Culture Ministry Summit, in April 14th through the 16th. You can go ncmsummit.com. It's at a castle. I mean, it's an American castle. We've got some of our German friends are like,
that's not a castle.
It's cute. That's a cute little building you got there. And they're like, how old is it? They're like, my bathroom is older than that castle. But the idea is that it's at Glen Erie Castle in Colorado Springs, Colorado, at Garden of the Gods. And this is a navigator space. It's beautiful. It's just a wonderful place to be. And we invite you to come out here and join us for great speakers, good conversation, good fellowship, and just at the end of the day, encouragement to know that you're not alone. It's not just people like us that are running organizations on any level. It's guys like David that are just like, man, I'm one guy in a basement or a game store. Is there space for me? And the answer is yes. Yes, there is. And not only is there space for you, but there is a group that you can join that gives you that accountability that he was telling you about, that will spur you on to greatness and move you further down the path than you ever thought possible. So all that and more at ncmsummit.com. You can find the Discord button under our socials that'll take you in there. You can request to join the group. They're not always just completely open, but we want to make sure that the right people get to the right spaces. So you can do that. And we didn't even mention, but the group that you're a part of, our previous guest.
Yeah, David.
David, he is, he is not no one, but his name is no one in the Discord. And so he's the leader of that group. And
he's certainly someone to me. I've appreciated him and his taking the helm of that group and helping to push it forward and rally all of our conversation up. So he's a great guy. I enjoyed his. We're
looking to kind of move more into the networks area as we lean into NCMS this year and beyond. We've got some really good ideas, and who knows, you guys, you might be the next one. So just come, be a part of it. Join the collective. There's no dues or fees or anything. We're just trying to create space for you to do really good ministry and to love and serve the nerds in your space. Well, hey, David, as we get out of here, man, how can people get a hold of you? What's some spaces maybe on the internet where they can find you?
I'm on Discord at David Byron Hicks. That's probably the quickest way for this community to get me. Of course, there is email, and I'm just David Byron Hicks. I got into email and social media early on enough where I could just use my entire name and I don't have to hide behind anything else. not hide behind.
I got you.
No, but David Byron Hicks at Gmail. But from one of those, you're going to find me. So I would love to talk and I would love to learn. I mean, I'm looking for people who have ideas that go beyond my little brain. So I'm thankful for anything God sends my way with how to do this better.
And also, I'm just going to shamelessly plug you because you're not doing it. He is a graphic designer, and so if you're looking for anybody, you look up David Byron Hicks on Behance. If you know what that is, you know what it is. And so, yeah, man, and we want to support people as much as we can. And sometimes that's like, hey, got a great guy who could do some cool stuff for you. So if you've got a project where you need some graphic design, look him up.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's my pleasure. You did us a solid coming on here and saying nothing but good things. You kept all the bad things out of the conversation, so that's good.
Yeah, I went by the list you sent me earlier. Right? No, that's not true.
You checked some email. Well, hey, we're going to get out of here. But again, we just want to make sure that you know ncmsummit.com. And we hope to see you at the castle April 14th through 16th. And if nobody else tells you this, just remember it's true. Jesus loves you, nerds.
Yes, he does.